What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So now that spring practice is basically upon us for most teams in the nation, I figured it'd be a good time to look at some of the biggest quarterback battles facing teams heading into next season, with this video specifically focusing on the Auburn Tigers, which to me is a very interesting quarterback battle, mainly due to all the pressure around the coaching staff and program as a whole heading into next season, which just makes getting this position right all the more important for them as a program heading forward. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, there are 5 scholarship quarterbacks on Auburn's roster, and I will touch on each and every one of them heading into this spring. But it seems like this could very well end up being a two-man race by the end of it all. And those 5 quarterbacks are the returning starter, TJ Finley, incoming transfer from Texas A&M, Zach Calzada, another incoming transfer out of Oregon in Robby Ashford, returning redshirt freshman Demetrius Davis, and then lastly, incoming true freshman Holden Garner. So let's go ahead and start with TJ Finley. Finley ended last season as the starting quarterback for Auburn, despite being somewhat unimpressive and very much inconsistent in his time at Auburn. And the same was true of Finley dating back to his time at LSU as well. Heading into next season, Finley will definitely have the edge on the other quarterbacks as far as familiarity goes, but with all the offensive coordinator changes and general staff overhaul at Auburn this offseason, that edge is very limited because it's really not all that familiar, as a lot of the coaches are changing and the entire system will change around them. Finley does, however, have outstanding physical tools, and he has also, the biggest thing to me, I think, is his outstanding size that he has that pairs really well with his solid mobility. It's not anything game-breaking, but it really allows the rest of his game to sort of work and flow around it due to his incredible size and mobility. He also has a massive arm. He can make any throw you would need him to just based purely on arm strength. He can get the ball really, really deep down the field, far outside the numbers. He has the arm strength and arm talent to do that. But the big issues with his game are mainly his accuracy. Number one, it's all over the place, and his consistency, which goes hand in hand with his accuracy there, very much so inconsistent, very, very much all over the map as far as his actual performance on the field. And that's something that you really can't have if you want to be a starting quarterback at this level of college football. He also struggles a lot pre-snap to really read and understand the defenses that teams are throwing at him, which only exacerbates his accuracy and consistency issues. However, when he is on, Finley looks like a great quarterback, and he clearly has the physical potential. He just hasn't really been able to put it all together on the field yet. Coming into this spring, he is going to have to prove that he can indeed figure it all out and put his accuracy and consistency issues behind him, because this quarterback battle is going to, be wide open at this point in the race, at least in spring, and it's likely going to be very challenging for whatever quarterback ends up winning the job. And so Finley has a long way to go if he wants to hang on to his starting role from last season. The next quarterback that I want to talk about is Zach Calzada, and so far he seems like the early favorite to win the job. Calzada transferred in from Texas A&M this offseason after starting most of the season for the Aggies last year due to an injury to the original starter for A&M in Haynes King. Calzada had some up and down play for A&M last season, with the highlight being his big win over Alabama that really shocked the world. He threw for 2,185 yards last year with 17 touchdowns and 9 interceptions, which overall is a decent year, especially in the SEC West, to go up against those defenses. However, it wasn't anything super impressive as a whole, and he was on a very, very talented team where he likely felt he wouldn't be able to keep that starting job next season, which kind of explains his decision to transfer out, because if he thought he was going to keep the starting job, it wouldn't really make sense for him to leave that program based on the trajectory A&M is on right now. So it seems more than likely he felt he either wouldn't be given a fair shot at the job, or most likely that he wouldn't be able to win the job. However, that doesn't mean he's not going to be good at Auburn. It's just sort of an indication, I think, of some of his limitations that he might have heading into this upcoming season. I don't want people to think that he is going to be some outstanding quarterback that's just going to walk in day one and run away with the job, because I don't think that's what he is. The 9 interceptions were, the main issue with his game, in my opinion. But he also did have flashes of absolute brilliance in his time at Texas A&M, which makes getting a proper eval of him very difficult. His completion percentage of 56% is concerning to me, because that's very low for what you would want to see at this level of the sport. And, he has room to grow. He has a lot of room to improve in his next season of real playing time. And learning the new staff and the new roster will be difficult for him due to the transfer status and him coming in at this point. But it will be for everybody at Auburn last year because, like I mentioned, the extreme staff overhaul this past season. It's really hard to imagine Calzada transferring out of A&M to go sit the bench at Auburn. And I think that's largely why he's currently the favorite to win that job. But it's far from certain for him. He hasn't shown anything impressive enough to completely shut down the competition, in my opinion. The third quarterback I want to talk about is Robby Ashford, who transferred in from Oregon. And Ashford's interesting because of his physical talent, yet a lack of any real production on the field. He was at Oregon for 2 years since coming out of high school, and there's been hype for him in both seasons, but he's been unable to see the field in any significant way. The talent is there, though. I mean, he has great athleticism and very good arm strength, somewhat similar to TJ Finley, but there's so much about him that's a complete unknown at this point. It makes it basically impossible to judge how well he'll actually perform this spring and in fall camp at Auburn. I think he'll have some camp buzz for sure because he has the physical tools to really wow you sometimes, but I don't think he's going to be able to make a real push for the starting job here. He's likely going to be a depth quarterback. Just based off of what he's been able to do at Oregon, I just don't see him taking some massive leap when he comes to Auburn and taking over the program. But it is really hard to tell that for sure at this point. The fourth quarterback on this list is Demetrius Davis, who is another young talent with little to no actual proven skills. His potential and upside is exciting, though. Davis had an outstanding high school career in Texas and ended last season as the backup to TJ Finley as a true freshman, and he had some buzz around him and his long-term potential. Davis is an absolutely outstanding athlete despite being very undersized for the position at only 5'10", and he offers a really legitimate threat in the running game and in his ability to sort of improvise and make plays off script on his own when the original play design breaks down and you have to sort of make something happen out of nothing. His pure arm talent, though, is limited, and his ability as a pocket passer is also limited due to A, his arm talent, and B, his size limitations. But he is an elite-level competitor who will compete his tail off. I just think that his lack of game experience combined with some of his physical limitations is going to make it very difficult for him to really make a legitimate push at the starting job here. I just don't see him making, too big of a move heading into this season with who Auburn already has on the roster in Calzada and Finley, and even a guy like Robby Ashford at this point. I think him and Ashford will have a tough battle for the number 3 spot, but beyond that, I don't see him making too much of a push. The last quarterback to talk about, once again, has good physical talent, but a pure lack of experience, and that is Holden Garner. Garner is a former 4-star recruit who once again has the physical abilities, like I said. No experience, though. He's going to be brand new to the college game, and he likely won't be able to make any real significant pushes for the starting role when he arrives on campus into what is becoming a crowded and very competitive quarterback room. All of the guys that are going to be in there, all are more experienced than him. They're all equally talented as him, and so I just don't see him making an incredible push as a true freshman at this point. He's more of a pocket passer. He's got very good arm talent. He's very willing to push the ball down the field, but his game's going to take time to adjust to the college level as he gets used to seeing more talented players week in and week out, seeing much, much more complex defenses, and in year one, it's just too early for him to really compete for that starting job, in my opinion. Overall, to me, it seems like the favorite is definitely Zach Calzada, with TJ Finley being his primary competition behind him for that starting role. Robby Ashford and Demetrius Davis will likely be the main competitors behind them, with a chance to push the top 2 guys, but I just don't see them doing much beyond pushing those guys. And then newcomer Holden Garner will most likely round out the bottom of the rotation just due to a pure lack of experience at this point compared to the other guys on the depth chart. Whoever ends up winning this job, though, in the end will have their hands full next year, leading a program that is in a lot of turmoil right now in the toughest division and toughest conference in all of college football. Anyway, that'll do it for this one. Let me know down below in the comments section what you guys think about this quarterback battle and who you think will win it and why they will win that job. Also, if you've made it this far in the video, go ahead and leave a like because it helps out the channel tremendously, and subscribe to the channel for more college football content in the future, as I will continue to upload very regularly going forward. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.